Hi there, I'm the Asian trainer, aka Waffles, and at the beginning of November, I decided to try to take on a Nuzlocke challenge in a randomized version of Pokemon Platinum with two big conditions. I could only use Pokemon with the same type as my starter, and I had to beat it before Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out, which gave me a total of 14 days. All Pokemon were randomized and given random abilities. All their evolutions were randomized, but they would evolve into a Pokemon that shared the same type, and all items were randomized, including TMs. And if you don't know what a Nuzlocke is, it is a challenge run that comes down to 3 major rules. First, if a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and I'd have to box it for the rest of the playthrough. If all my Pokemon faint and I white out, that run is over. I'd have to re-randomize everything and we'd lose any progress we made so far. Second, I can only catch the first encounter in an area that shares the same type as my starter, and since everything is randomized, we have no way of knowing where those encounters will show up or what Pokemon we'll find. We also have to nickname every Pokemon, that way we grow a closer bond and feel worse when they die. I had 14 days to finish the playthrough. Here's what happened. Now, I didn't know what type I was going to be stuck with since I was basing it off whichever starter I picked and the starters were going to be random. So, after naming myself Waffles, as I always do, and declaring Barry my new boyfriend—
This boy, he's my friend. He's my boyfriend.
I sped through the dialogue to see what my options were.
Kabutops, the shellfish Pokemon. We're not allergic. Hitmonchan, the punching Pokemon. Or the river crab Pokemon, Krabby.
Now, I love Hitmonchan. It's a pretty cool Pokemon, but I looked up just how many fighting types were actually in Pokemon Platinum, and I realized it was going to be way more difficult if I chose to go for a fighting type lock, so I elected to go for Kabutops instead, locking myself into a water-only playthrough. Unfortunately, that left our boyfriend with Hitmonchan, who proceeded to one-shot me with revenge. Kinda fitting since I didn't pick him, but thankfully, as with most Nuzlocke challenges, I didn't have Pokeballs yet, so the rules hadn't started. And to make it up for me, my new boyfriend took me on a date to Lake Verity to try to catch a legendary Pokemon, even though, again, we had no Pokeballs. I think he was just gonna try to grab it with his hands, but we saw Cyrus mumbling to himself and then Barry sped away, and I went to follow along and continue the tutorial when we ran into something quite special. Anyway, when I finally got to town, I was given a Pokedex and allowed to nickname my starter. I decided to go with Maneater because I can also flip him face up and destroy one monster on the field. And it kinda looks like Maneater bug. I grabbed some Pokeballs so hopefully I could catch Maneater a friend in the nearby grass, but it turns out that other than the Ho-Oh there was a Beautifly with Absorb and an Arena Trap Ampharos.
Tempt Ampharos. Jeez, this entire grass patch wants to just kill. No.
So I decided that patch of grass was probably not the best place for me to be right now. I got a little luckier at Lake Verity where I ran into a Dugong who joined our team. The Twitch chat wanted to name it Horny, but I tried to play with the spelling and ended up with Horkney the Sticky Hole Dugong, so welcome Horkney to the team. I wanted to train up Horkney in the scary grass for a bit, but decided against it when this happened.
No, don't headbutt.
So I did some training on the next route instead, and by the time I got to the next match with Barry, I was ready. He sent out a Drifloon and I was able to hit it once before it started minimizing. And then after that first minimize, it took another 9 tries before I hit it again. But eventually Horkney was able to take it down, which left the ever-threatening Hitmonchan. But I knew a strategy this time. Thanks to a couple potions, I was able to get at the Pokemart and a lot of Hardens. I was able to live through his revenge and take him out with Maneater.
Let's go for scratch. Yeah, critical hit. Maneater, Maneater. Yes, we did it. No one died.
Unfortunately, while I did encounter mons like Mamoswine and Mesprit on the way to Orenburg City, I could not find any water types. Barry let me know that the gym leader was off in the mine, so I went underground and, after punching through a rock as a show of force, Rorik went back to await my challenge. I looked around for a bit, but there weren't any water types in here either, so I knew I was just gonna have to take him on with Horkney and Maneater and hope he didn't have any fighting types, as I still had some scars from Barry's Hitmonchan. However, after the first gym trainer killed his only Pokemon with Perish Song, we faced off against a second trainer who threw out a Registeel. Since my strongest moves were Ice and Normal, I had a little bit of trouble facing off against this Steel type. Using Leer to lower its defense, Maneater goes for the kill when
If he hits me one more time. No, 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 no. Oh my gosh.
Okay, that was close. I rushed back to the Pokemon Center to heal Maneater and to slow down my heart rate. After calming down, I went back in and took on Gym Leader Rorik, Florentino's challenge. He led off with a Snow Warning Crobat, who Horkney easily took down with a couple of icy winds. After that was Grottle, who couldn't even take one. Horkney was clearing through him easily when it was time for Florentino's ace, and he sent out Dragonite. And, well,
just blow on him. Just blow him. He almost died. There we go. Alright, just one more. Horkney, you got this? Yeah.
So yeah, Gym Leader Florentino was easier than I expected, and we earned our first badge. Barry lets us know that we need to head back to Eterna City for the next badge, so off we go. In Jubilife City, Professor Rowan completely burned a couple of Team Galactic grunts, and Dawn and I teamed up to finish the job before I headed north. Still desperate to add another member to our 2 Pokemon squad, I finally run into a Wish Cache outside of Floraroma Town. We add Cat Jam the Thick Fat Wish Cache to our team. Then we went to beat up a couple of preschoolers for talking themselves up when we found out that
you guys are toddlers. Look at you. You're I see why you're the strongest in your class of babies.
They were indeed the strongest in their class. GG, kiddos. Outside of the city, we met another preschooler who says her dad was kidnapped, so we went off to go rescue her dad when we ran into that kid's mom at the Valley Windworks. She joined our team, and after some training, her and Cat Jam were ready to go take on Team Galactic and free the dad. Cat Jam made short work of Mars's Lucario, and Horkney took out her Blossom, and that's all she wrote. Mars left defeated, never to return to the Windworks. That kid is reunited with her dad, but that kid's mom stays with me. Thanks to Cheryl's assistance in the Eterna Forest, that kid's mom gets pretty darn strong, and we're on a roll. We run into a possible 5th party member in a Quagsire on Route 205, but
97 or something?
Oh no! Tragedy strikes, and Maneater falls to a Mudshot crit. Determined to get my vengeance, I made sure to catch Quagsire, and the chat decided to name it Not Wooper, which is technically an accurate name. We made it to Eterna City, where we can finally have a funeral for our fallen starter. When the chat decides to redeem the Uwu reward, so the funeral went like this.
We loved it. We loved it a lot. It had big, strong size, and we will miss it very much. Uwu, take the zoom zoom lens to the grave. Goodbye. Goodbye, Maneater.
Wanting to cheer me up, our boyfriend takes us to see the statue of a legendary Pokemon and gives us a couple tips on how to be the best.
Make certain all your attacks hit and avoid enemy attacks. Then you'll be invincible. Barry, you're so stupid. I love you.
We made the most out of those tips in our battle versus Gardenia, as we easily earned the 2nd gym badge. That kid's mom and Horkney really have been putting in the work, and her Pokemon didn't stand a chance. So with 2 gym badges to help fill the Kabutops-shaped hole in my heart, I headed off to Route 211 in search of another friend. We end up running into a seal, and with Horkney's help, we catch it with the promise that we won't evolve it while Horkney lives, as we are following a variant of species clause, so we can't have the same Pokemon in the party at the same time. Dealer the Seal joins our team, and we end the day with 2 gym badges and 5 Pokemon. We started day 2 feeling pretty good about all the progress we made so far. While I still missed our precious Maneater Kabutops, we had a pretty full party, and I had a good feeling about how things were gonna go. Well, boy was I wrong. Maybe Arceus will just... Natural gift? Oh my god. Probably slower now. Yes, headbutt. Flinch. No, 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 no! Horkney! I'm so sorry. You just got here, and I promised to look after you. Oh god. I'm gonna just hope that he goes for gravity. No, no, no. Ah! Live! Live! No! Ah! Alright, So we took on Jupiter, who had an Arceus that brought down divine punishment on all of our Pokemon and gave us the natural gift of death. Natural gift grass, to be specific. We lost the run and we had to restart from the very beginning with everything re-randomized. So we picked Pidgeot as our starter and decided to go with flying types when...
We have a shiny Pidgeot! What? Our Pidgeot is shiny! Oh my god! What? Yes! Okay, we are treasuring this Pidgeot forever.
Somehow, we got incredibly lucky and ended up with a shiny Pidgeot as our starter. Crazy. Unfortunately, Rorik had a little something to say about that. Even more unfortunately, it wouldn't be the last loss of the day.
I feel like we're gonna die if we don't wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up! Get in the Pokeball! Get in the ball, Articuno! Alright, I think that is where we're gonna end this stream.
We end day 2 defeated, but not out of it yet. We hopped back into things on day 3 with our new starter, Absol. We named after the comfy shirt I was wearing for that stream, locking us into using dark types. Barry grabs Lucario. Oh hey, we're gonna regret that later. And absolutely wrecks us. But we didn't have Pokeballs, so we wake back up in the morning with a killer headache and continue onwards. Thankfully, we found another dark type right on the first route in Umbreon. After forgetting the name of a wonderful Twitch mod on the 5-9 Gaming channel, we ended up naming our Umbreon mod with plans to rename that later. So sorry Dondre, everyone please go check him out, he is a fantastic dude. His Twitter is down in the description. After some training, we headed into Jubilife City where we lucked out and got an XP share. Getting it that early was big as it's gonna make training new Pokemon a lot easier. So we got our Poketch and went to have our rematch with Barry, and we were pretty concerned about his Lucario, but Comfy Shirt was itching to have his vengeance. Unfortunately, we were pretty right to be concerned as...
No! Oh god. Oh god.
His Lucario has counter now, so we do a big cheese strat and hope that we can get lucky and not get countered, and we barely make it out alive. We search for some other Pokemon on the way to fighting Rorik, and we find a little Nuzlocke in the mines. We caught it and named it Kirk because I was having trouble saying Kurok, which is the name of the little acorn dudes in Breath of the Wild. It was great to finally add a dark type that didn't just have normal moves to the party so that we couldn't be walled by ghost types. So anyway, he died in training, and so we went into our first gym just praying that Rorik wouldn't have any ghosts haunting the building. We get lucky, earn our first gym badge with relative ease. We head back to Jubilife City, and after thrashing Team Galactic again with Dawn, we get invited to go visit the TV station to dress up our Pokemon. We didn't do that in our water playthrough, but how could we have a Pokemon named Comfy Shirt without actually giving it a comfy shirt? However, our fashion case didn't have any clothing, but it did have a mustache, so we made this masterpiece and called it
Old Man. Oh wow. Oops. I like oops.
We were also interviewed twice while we were there.
Hello, I'm with Jubilife TV. Yes, you can hit me up with a quick interview. Do I have a comment on my finished piece? I think my piece is pure power. What's my opinion on TV? Ah.
We quickly beat up Mars again, and after leaving the Eterna Forest, we finally get a new encounter. Miss Barker's the Houndour joins our party, as well as Ghostbuster the Sharpedo, who is just swimming around between the trees. We used the XP share to get Miss Barker up to level 15 so she could hold her own against some of the Pokemon in the forest. But tragedy strikes yet again, as we take 3 steps and run into a crazed Tauros. It takes one awful look at us, and then...
Oh!
The crit took Miss Barker too soon. She was going to be our first random evolution, but it looks like that'll have to wait for another day. We end the day with a funeral for Miss Barker and a bit of training to get Ghostbuster ready for the next gym. We started day 4 with some light stretches and training to get Ghostbuster up to snuff. Once we got him to level 20, we were ready to go take on Gardenia and earn our second gym badge. I led with Ghostbuster and she decided to go with her Ivysaur, which spelled out bad news for our Sharpedo. And I don't know the odds of this happening, but it turns out that all 3 of our Pokemon were actually grass type, so Ghostbuster hides in his Pokeball while Maud and Comfy Shirt cut through her Mons, sometimes literally. After earning our second gym badge, it's finally time. Jupiter was waiting for us, so we beat up a bunch of Team Galactic grunts for the last bit of training, took a deep breath, and started the battle. She starts with her Politoed, who Ghostbuster tears right through with his big jaws, but not before it sings the Paris song, forcing me to switch out in a couple of turns. However, her next Pokemon turns out to be Gabite. Now I didn't mention this earlier, but while training, Ghostbuster learned Ice Fang. So while it was risky, I decided to stay in and see if Ghostbuster could one-shot the Gabite. It turns out that, yeah, he could, and I had been so invested in the battle that I didn't realize she only had 2 Pokemon. I was expecting something stronger to come out, but with that, our only water type got vengeance for Horkney, That Kid's Mom, Dealer, and Cat Jam. And I guess also not Wooper too. With Eterna City cleared, our next stop was Hearthome with the 3rd gym. We grabbed a few super potions and headed on our way. As we explored a nearby cave, we ran into a very smelly boy, Bacterian the Stunky. He joined our party and it turned out he had run away as an ability, so we let him lead the party for now. In another separate cave, we run into Cyrus, who's mumbling to himself about how human beings suck and like things were better in the 90s or something. I don't know, go off, but anyway, when we finally get to Hearthome, everyone's talking about how Pokemon contests are just the coolest thing, and surprise surprise, when I get to the gym, the leader is off doing a Pokemon contest. So if we had to do a contest, we were gonna win. And after my mom gives me an absolutely stellar tux to wear, we took Comfy Shirt and... I have 60 seconds to dress up, oh god. Okay, 60 seconds, oh no, and it's sped up. Mustache. And, puffball, 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 and fire, and, glitter, sparkles. Sparkle glitters. Okay, boom. And Comfy Shirt, the monstrosity. What am I supposed to be doing? Copy the Pokemon before you. What? Oh god. What? Green, blue. Blue. Wait, what? Yellow, red. Okay. From 3 steps. Okay. I did 2 steps. I couldn't even do 3. What the heck? We were the clear winner. Oh yeah, let's just forget that ever happened. Anyway, on to the 3rd gym. The leader's Pokemon turned out to be mostly pushovers, except for a super bulky Noctowl who Maud takes on for about 20 minutes before I just bring in Ghostbuster to finish him off. At this point, Ghostbuster and Comfy Shirt are definitely the strongest Pokemon on our team. Our next stop looks to be Veilstone City, so we go to leave when... Barry jumps us, and I still have nothing that really likes to deal with his Lucario, so I send in Bacterian since that's at least type neutral. Okay, Bacterian, I'm gonna need you to heal because I need you here to smokescreen. Oh! Barry, we're not going on a 4th date now. Unfortunately, after taking a crit Force Palm, we're left struggling for options. I decided to bring in Maud to lower its accuracy enough that maybe, just maybe, we can take it out. Thank goodness for the super potions we got earlier, or Barry might have just swept us here. With the Lucario gone, Ghostbuster and Comfy Shirt finish off the rest of his team. But before the next Barry battle, we're definitely going to need an answer to that Lucario. On the next route over, we talked to a fisherman who gave us the good rod, which we promptly used to fish out another Umbreon. Now we can't use that while Maud is in the party, but we catch it and nickname it Dondre. Speaking of repeat Mons, we ran into a wild Sharpedo in a graveyard and we nicknamed it after a spam bot that came into chat, so Chip-U, this one's for you. Our party tears through the 4th gym leader pretty easily and she gives us a TM for Aerial Ace, and thanks to the randomization, Ghostbuster is able to learn it. Sharknado 3, here we come as we finally have something for fighting types. After that, we get a little bit lost, but we did find a spiky boy to add to our party. So Thirstlord the Cacturn then takes us to another dark type as we also add Skill Issue the Mightyena to our squad. The team is starting to look pretty filled out now, but we still have no idea where we're going. We made our way to an ancient ruin, but as we went to ask for directions, we're attacked by a fortress. And I make a fateful mistake here. Our flying shark had been chomping through all that opposed us, and I had so much faith that he would two-hit kill this fortress. Unfortunately, my faith was not rewarded this time. So with Ghostbuster dead, we continue on with his successor, ChipU.com, in the party. Well, with a little help from the internet, we stumbled our way into town and attempted the Great Marsh. Now there's 6 different areas, so we were absolutely ready to fill out our party.
Don Van? Nope. That's not a dark type. Oh, hi, Suicune. What are you doing in the Great Marsh?
Anyway, there weren't any dark types. Huh. We finished the day with training as we get ready for our 5th gym battle. We start day 5 ready to go take on the gym, but of course, he arrives again to take another of our beloved friends away. Maud the Umbreon falls to a few too many Bone Rush hits.
I thought it was only gonna hit twice!
So after taking some time to mourn him and to grab his replacement Dondre, the other Umbreon, we go to beat up Crasher Wake. We lead off with Comfy Shirt, but Wake starts with an Armaldo. Not the best start for us, but Absol is able to bite through the fossilized rock and take it out. While that was a bit difficult, ChipU.com rips through his Rhyhorn and Lucario with Stab Aqua Jet, just like Barry's Lucario rips through my heart every time I see him. ChipU.com is really starting to live up to Ghostbusters' legacy, and we finally have our 5th gym badge. Now it's time to head off to the next town. Unfortunately, we run into a random trainer with a Sceptile, and I decided to go into Thirstlord after saying out loud
it could have X-Scissor, which would be a problem.
And then it did. So yeah, Thirstlord is dead. But he wouldn't be the only one of the day, as our Absol gets an absolutely low roll against a Huntail that then takes him out with a Brine. A horrible way for our starter to go, but in other news, our demon boyfriend Death jumps us in the next town, and you'd think that it would get easier.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Look. Alright, ChipU. He can't hit you now. No. Aura Sphere doesn't. Okay. No, live. Dang it.
I'm starting to think he may be a better trainer than me. This was definitely the furthest we've gotten, so it was a shame to reset, but we go back into it and start with a little Wooper as our starter. But the chat really didn't like that, and I guess neither did Fate, as Shadow Tag Jirachi at Lake Verity takes it out almost immediately. However, our next reset starts off pretty well. We get Torchic as a starter, name it KFC, and decide we're going with a fast food restaurant theme for the nicknames. That ends up giving Barry a Lucario yet again, but I think we're better prepared this time. We find some encounters pretty quickly: McDonald's the Magby, Taco Bell the Ninetales, and Panda Express the Houndoom. We also run into an Arceus in the mines that we decide to attempt to catch with our 10 normal Pokeballs, and somehow it works. Unfortunately, I forgot that we randomized abilities, so even if we get a Flame Plate, Arceus can never be a Fire type. So it stays in the PC, hoping to bless the rest of our party. We take on the gym possibly a little bit too early, as McDonald's gets sacrificed to a Lumineon so that we can heal up the rest of our Mons.
Farewell, buddy.
We only had him for a short time, but he will be missed. Anyway, after 5 days, we finally get our first random evolution. Our wonderful little KFC evolves from a Torchic into a Charmander, which gives him Dragon Rage. And then he evolves again almost immediately into a Blaziken. So that was weird, but we got an early Blaziken and the nickname still fits. And then Panda Express dies. So it turns out, when I'm feeling really good about our run, that's a bad sign. So with that, one of our 2 remaining heavy hitters goes down. leaving us mostly relying on Blaziken. We search far and wide for a new fire type, and we finally find a really slow turtle boy who we name Yakitori. Yakitori and KFC, they were going to be our new power couple, taking down everyone, and with our reliance on Blaziken, he got extremely strong and over-leveled. But then, we're hit by a falling star. We end up in a double battle. Our level 39 Blaziken and level 24 Yakitori against a level 25 Starmie and a level 24 Bellsprout. Yakitori bravely sacrifices himself so KFC can get a stab blaze kick off, even if it is resisted. He takes most of Starmie's health but gets hit by an acid, which is where we make a fatal mistake. We see our boy KFC is in the yellow. We get scared and we decide to try to heal him up, but Starmie goes for recover and Bellsprout paralyzes us with Stun Spore. Now here's the problem. KFC can no longer outspeed Starmie, and we've seen that he cannot kill Starmie in one hit, so he has to be able to get 2 attacks off. Our special defense is down, and no matter how much we try to heal, we are never able to outlive 2 water guns from Starmie. So we say goodbye to our KFC, and with that, our fire goes out. That wouldn't be the end for us. We go to get our next starter, profusely apologizing to the professor for all the ones we've killed so far. Dawn hands us a briefcase with all water types. So of course we go with our Salvation the Kyogre, and Barry grabs a Huntail, who we promptly destroy with the Lord of the Ocean. It's hopefully going to be a good run. We catch our second water type almost immediately, a Cloyster who we nickname... Anyway, we continued to fill out the party pretty quickly with Cat Jam the Barboach at Lake Verity, Lord Helix the Ammonite on Route 202, Corey the Corsola on Route 204, and before we knew it, we had a 5 Pokemon party before the first gym. We easily take down Barry, and then we find that one kid's dad. He's here. We catch a Whalmer on the next route, bringing us to a full 6 Pokemon party, and somehow, in the cave to Orenburg City, we find another water type that we add to our party, but it's... Anyway, Spike Lee the Starmie joins our party and we try to work together to get through the trauma, but we put Corey back in the box for another time as Corsola is not the best Pokemon out there. And now the only problem we have is that we have so many Pokemon in the party, so it's going to take them a while to get them all leveled up and ready to go. So we end the day with some training as we prepare to wash up Rorik. So anyway, Rorik had a Mareep, a Poochyena, and a Yanmega, so we get our first gym badge pretty easily, and we're feeling pretty good about our run. So you know what that means? Enter Mr. Random Bug Catcher who somehow has the strongest bug in the game, Togekiss. So Togekiss is surprisingly strong and ends up having Aura Sphere to take down Lord Helix. No, don't kill Ammonite. Frickers. So our Salvation comes through and quickly takes our vengeance. Unfortunately, that wouldn't be the last loss of the day.
Wait, there's a reason why I didn't want to fight Bonsleys. I don't remember what it is, but I'm a little nervous, so we're going into that kid's dad. That's why! That's why I didn't want to fight Bonsleys. An adorable baby Bonsly pops out of the grass, and some guttural instinct, something deep inside of me, told me that this is not a fight I want to take on. But as I have the memory of a goldfish, I couldn't remember why. I get nervous and I switch in that kid's dad since he is pretty strong at this point, but he immediately gets vibe checked and dies to a low kick. Thankfully, we found the Floatzel hanging out at the Valley Windworks that we nicknamed Baywatch and add to the party. She's not that kid's dad, but she'll be pretty helpful. We quickly dispose of Mars again before doing some training with Cheryl before the second gym. And thanks to her healing our Mons, we're able to get a lot of good levels and we came into the second gym ready to go. Gardenia starts off with an Execute that Spike Lee takes out pretty easily. She follows up with a Marowak who's also no problem, but her final Pokemon is Nidoqueen. Now Spike Lee had been the star of the show so far, so I switched into Not Safe for Work, but it turns out that her Nidoqueen had double kick,
So sorry NSFW, it's not your turn to take the spotlight yet. Spike Lee comes back out and takes her down with a couple of water guns. Jupiter goes down about as easily as Mars, so it's on to the next area. Just past the cycling road, we run into a little side duck who we catch and name Jerry. We found yet another Pokemon in Mount Coronet, a love disc swimming around on the cave floor, so we quickly catch it, nickname it Molly, and pray that we don't end up needing it as love disc sucks. But now it's time for our third gym battle. We lead off with Barry, our Huntail, and she starts off with a Slacking that doesn't have Truant thanks to the randomized abilities, so that's scary. But for some reason, it just keeps wanting to yawn us, so we switch into NSFW as she has the highest physical defense on our team. And I realized that Not Safe for Work was gonna have to stay in and fall asleep, so I went for the Supersonic, hoping it'll hit itself as I rest up, but we miss it. And to make things worse, Slacking's Feint Attack still does a huge chunk of damage to us. We heal up and then get yawned back to sleep, but this time we land our Supersonic. Thanks to a couple of lucky turns where Slacking just beats itself up with its two fists, we wake up and we take it out while having a decent chunk of health left. But that's not where the crazy stuff ends. She then throws out a Regigigas, again, without slow start, and I did not want to mess around with that, so I just go straight out into Kyogre to go Legend v Legend. We take a lot of damage, but we are able to take it down, thankfully. And that is when she reveals her ace, a Delcatty. All normal types for some reason. I don't know why she's a normal type gym leader, but okay, Norman. I go with Barry, who immediately falls in love and then falls asleep. So kind of a weird relationship, but I won't judge too much. We go to switch out when we're not allowed to switch. So it's up to Barry to break up with her, and while their love was short-lived, it was certainly something. Anyway, we get our next badge and move forward, but we're not done yet. It's time for another Barry battle, and it turns out his Pokemon sucked this time, so we beat him pretty easily. Not today, Death. Not today. After walking past the corpses of Barry's Pokemon, we run into that kid's mom again. So we catch her, and we leave her in the box for now, just in case we lose one of our 6 stellar Pokemon. So anyway, we lose one of our 6 stellar Pokemon.
Oh god!
It turns out that a random Pokemon breeder just happened to have Arceus and killed NSFW with an Earth Power. And I can't say I know what to expect when squaring up against God, but I can only hope that they take mercy on my soul. We take it down with our salvation, the Kyogre, but our heart hurts for Not Safe for Work. We hold a funeral, she was strong, and she really carried us through the second gym, even though it was really mostly Starmie. But now, she must head off to her eternal rest. We add that kid's mom to the party, and we head off to the Lost Tower to do some training. Now, the Lost Tower is pretty spooky. It's similar to Lavender Tower with a lot of graves on each floor. On top of that, there's a creepy fog that gets thicker as you climb each set of stairs. It's the perfect place for encountering ghosts, or to make your own ghosts as well.
Oh!
So Blaziken comes in and kicks that kid's mom in the face twice, and she dies. We try to continue on with the training, but this Oscar Wilde wannabe bird decided to go for Pursuit when we switched out Cat Jam 2.0, and as you might know, Pursuit doubles in power if an opponent tries to run or switch out, and Barboach doesn't have the best stats. So our second attempt at Cat Jam fails, and now we must go back to Salacion City for a double funeral. We add Ghostbuster the Carvana to our party, who apparently we caught near Orenburg, but I can't find the footage, so let's just accept that she's here because, spoilers, it's not gonna matter soon anyway. We finish the day with some training as we try to get Ghostbuster ready to go. Day 8 starts and we head towards Veilstone City. Now if you've never played Pokemon Platinum, let me set the scene for you here. The journey to Veilstone requires you to go through both Route 210 and Route 215. Now both of these are pretty long routes with a lot of trainers and no places to rest, so our team is taking a beating. I have potions to keep people alive, but I'm rotating the healthy ones to the front, and when they take too much damage, I move someone else into their slot. Now we have 2 options. I can backtrack all the way through Route 10 to heal up, or I can keep pushing through because I know we're almost to Veilstone. I just Don't know how close, but I know it's nearby. I'm also lazy, so there's really only one option here. There are 2 trainers that guard the way, and they challenge me to a double battle. Our only 2 healthy Pokemon were Baywatch and Salvation. It's raining, so our water type moves get a decent power boost, so we're just tearing through all their Pokemon when it comes down to a Sableye and a little itty bitty baby Fion. We take out the Sableye as Baywatch gets hit with a Supersonic. Baywatch hits itself once, but seems to be okay. When that teeny tiny water baby hits us with a critical hit Bubble Beam, which is somehow enough to take out Baywatch. I guess we shouldn't underestimate baby Pokemon.
It's a Fion, it bubble beamed you. You have a vest to protect you, Baywatch.
We finally make our way to Veilstone, where we add Jerry the Psyduck and Molly the Lovedust to our party and head off to train in the nearby grass. So remember yesterday when I said you really didn't have to worry about Ghostbuster? Let's just accept that she's here because, spoilers, it's not gonna matter soon anyway. That was why. We hold another funeral for Ghostbuster, and I decided that there was going to be no more deaths from this point on. We're only gonna train the best of our Pokemon. Molly goes back into the box and we train our new superstar Psyduck up to level 33, where Jerry finally evolves into a Quagsire. Now we've finally gotten a water ground type, which gives us an electric immunity. So we go off to take on the Veilstone City Gym with Jerry, Spike Lee, Salvation, and Barry, but as we made our way through the trainers, Spike Lee misses 2 water guns, and our trainer's wheezing explodes, taking Spike Lee with it. Our shining star crashes to Earth in a fiery explosion. Rest well, Spike Lee. You've earned it. Now with only 3 Pokemon, it was time to fight the gym leader. I led with Barry while she led with a Muck. We get poisoned, but Barry does a pretty decent job of taking it out. Next up, Pidgeotto. We send in Jerry, who water pulses, gets the confusion, Pidgeot hits itself, and we finish it off with a water gun. And then it came down to our last Mon, which was a Magikarp, and Kyogre just body slammed that thing into the ground, so we earned our 4th gym badge. After that, we made our way to Pastoria City, home of the 5th gym leader. On the way, we run into the objective best Johto starter, Totodile, who I caught and nicknamed Nostalgia. We quickly gave him a level to see what he evolves into, and it turns out it was a Spheal, so neat. In Pastoria City, we take on the Great Marsh, and we actually get pretty lucky. Each area counts as a separate encounter, so we pick up Beatstick the Crawdont, Meerkat the Mantike, Rasputin the Seadra, and a Prinplup who I accidentally named Quitchard instead of Richard. I clicked the wrong button. Then, outside of town, we run into a female Poliwhirl who we nickname Miss Spins, and by the lake, we find a Mantine who we nickname Pet Me because manta rays always look like they want to get pet. I'm a simple man with simple names. But we didn't have time to train all these new recruits, so we grabbed Beatstick for the psychic immunity and Molly from the box just because we like hanging out with her, and we continue on. We have to fight Barry again before the gym leader, and it all goes surprisingly well. We make it out without any deaths. So it was time for Crasher Wake. I decided to start off strong by leading with Salvation. He starts off with a Tropius, which would have been a problem for any of our other Mons, but Kyogre has Ice Beam, so we one-shot it. Next up is a Hitmonchan, so I switch into Jerry. Now, when I randomized this game, I made HMs compatible with every Pokemon. That way we would never get soft lock into an area because we didn't have a Pokemon that could learn something like Rock Smash. And I definitely could have just had one Pokemon be the HM slave, but I took a second, just like I want you to right now. And I imagined flying into town on top of a floating Quagsire. All this to say, Jerry knows fly, and Jerry flew into the sky and landed on that Hitmonchan's face. So lastly was Mightyena, and Salvation just slowly wears it down with Water Pulse, earning us our 5th gym badge. After 2 badges and several deaths, we end the day making our way towards Celestic Town. Day 9 begins in Celestic Town as Jerry learns the ever-important Earthquake move, which is really solidifying how important Jerry is as a stop to electric types. But soon after, we heard that Team Galactic was up to no good in the town cave, so we journey over to confront them when we find good old crazy spaceman Cyrus ranting. He asks for a battle, and unfortunately the chat redeems the no glasses for 5 minutes reward, so we are literally flying in blind. After taking down Cyrus, we head into the patch of grass on the western side of town to search for a new encounter when we find a super cool Wingull. We caught it, but again, the lack of glasses prevented me from seeing the keyboard, so when we could finally check the name... Let's see what did we call the Wingull? Hold on. What the heck? Q quotation mark spade semicolon triangle. It was a bit of a surprise. But everyone, please welcome Q quotation mark spade semicolon triangle the Wingull to our team. But when a beautiful new bird flies into your life, life finds a way to make room. And while I searched for a bottle of water to quench my real life thirst, our dry skin Crawdont was fading away. You see, this Polytoad had gone for Pear's song, but I wasn't focused and I forgot about it. We returned with water only to see our dehydrated crawfish corpse. Oh my god, what? The folly of man truly knows no bound. You truly deserved better, Beatstick. Now we continue training when Q quotation mark spade semicolon triangle starts to evolve, and the thing about the evolutions in the randomizer is that it'll select any Pokemon that shares one type with the Pokemon it evolves from. Now Wingull is a water bird, so naturally it's both water and flying type, and I'm sure that you can see where this is going. Alright, quotes, spade, oh wait, what is that, Scyther? Oh wait, no, it's flying type! So yeah, Q quotation mark spade semicolon triangle is no longer a water type, which means we can no longer use him. So he goes to the box, but thankfully he can still support us from the sideline. We have a few other evolutions that happened here as well. Nostalgia evolved into a Lombre, and after finding a Waterstone, that Lombre evolved into a Prinplup, and that Prinplup evolved into Ludicolo. So Nostalgia has come a long way since being a Totodile, but has finally landed as Nostalgia, the Ludicolo. And we're starting to get close to Canalou City now, and I hear the drum beats of war. We know our rival Death is waiting for us. We catch a Gyarados in the nearby grass, who we nickname Big, short for Big Snack, and train. We train day and night as I will be sure that my party doesn't fall to the same fate that they did in the Dark Run. The fight begins and Death leads off with a female Nidoran, most likely to lull me into a false sense of security. Nostalgia takes it down with a Surf, and next up is Registeel. And remembering our experience at Ornberg, we send out Jerry to throw it into the ground before it can explode. It curses at us, but thankfully Death got overconfident and he continued using Curse even as we went for the killing blow. Swablu comes next, and Nostalgia's time as a Spheal gifted him with some pretty okay ice moves. We take out that Swablu with an Aura Beam, or at least that's what we thought. It lives and goes for a takedown, critting us and bringing Nostalgia into the yellow. Thankfully we outspeed and it goes down after a second Aurora Beam, but it is time to switch out. Huntail, Death's starter, is coming out next. I switch out to Barry for a Huntail v Huntail match. Who has the better fish? I don't know, but his continues to evade me, and thanks to my Dread Plate, Barry is able to eventually have a full course Huntail meal, and bites Death's starter to death. We're not done yet, as our rival's last Pokemon is a Purugly. We go out to Jerry and it tries to swipe at us, but our Quagsire is hot. I mean, look at that body. The Flame Body ability activates and Purugly gets burned, so Jerry takes it down pretty easily. And so, we did it. We beat our high score. We survived past the rival fight, so we take a breather, heal up, and then it's time to take on the gym leader. Byron leads off with a Dratini and Nostalgia easily freezes that to death, but Byron decides it's time to up his game. So he sends out the god of space, Palkia, and it turns out that's his ace. So we buck up, send in Kyogre, and now it is time for the two water legendaries to duke it out. Now my plan here is to calm mind enough that I can take him out with either Ancient Power or Ice Beam. However, since Palkia is part Dragon type, it also has Stab Dragon moves, which hit me for neutral damage. On top of that, one of those moves is Dragon Claw, which is a physical move and we have no way of buffing up our physical defense. We can't take more than 2 hits without a crit and it outspeeds me. So what proceeded was a long period of calming our mind, healing through crits, and really just pushing ourselves, but Kyogre is narrowly able to come out with a win. And I was exhausted. I had no idea what was going to come next as his last Pokemon. Arceus? Giratina? Dialga? Well, it turns out it's just a little Chimchar, so we take it out with a +6 surf. Afterwards, Professor Rowan asks us to go investigate Lake Valor while Dawn and our rival head to the other 2 lakes, but unfortunately for us, Team Galactic decides that's the perfect time to blow up the lake, as the explosion is heard throughout Sinnoh. I nod along with the professor's request before promptly sneaking aboard a boat to the nearby Iron Island. Explosions? Sorry guys, you're on your own with that one. I gotta train. Unfortunately, karma always comes to collect, as Iron Island is home to both Iron and Shadow Tag Croconaw. Nostalgia uses Surf to almost kill it, but this Croconaw uses the power of God and anime to get his second wind and hit me with a crit flail. Nostalgia dies. We begrudgingly get Quitchard from the box and train with Riley on the island. Quitchard evolves into a Ludicolo, and we finish the day mourning our lost Nostalgia. We wake up on day 10 thinking about our friends Dawn and Des and how they must be faring against Team Galactic's evil schemes. With a twinge of guilt in my chest, I decide, screw it, I'm gonna keep training. So we do that, and when our team is finally ready, we say goodbye to Riley and we head over to Lake Valor. Now we had trained Big, our Gyarados, to be ready for anything, but I don't think any amount of training could have prepared her for the horrors she witnessed at that dried up lake. Her brethren weakly flopping around, gasping for air as they lay dying on the ground. Big got enraged, Big got angry, and began attacking every Team Galactic member in sight. She destroyed their Pokemon one after another until she made her way into the cave where Commander Saturn was waiting. He led with a Metagross, she took a Psychic and then Aqua-tailed back. Both Mons were in the red. Big roared, eyes red with bloodlust, ready to attack again when Jerry popped out of his Pokeball and pushed Big out of the way of a bullet punch, taking the hit for Big. Jerry then goes for an Earthquake and takes out the big bad Metagross. Saturn sends out a Gibble, and now that Big has caught her breath, she comes back out to take it down. She bites the Gibble in two with Ice Fang, and now Raikou is coming out. Knowing that she can't take on that Raikou alone, Jerry swaps back in and shakes the ground a couple times, KOing the Raikou. Saturn is defeated, so it's time to head to Lake Verity to help Dawn out. This time, we're gonna have to go through teams of Galactic members in double battles. Big looks to Barry, whose dead eyes seem to indicate that he's ready to help. The two of them thrash through each of the Galactic goons, and now it's time to take on Mars. But just like before, she's a piece of cake as Big rips through all her Pokemon. And now the third lake is Lake Acuity. And that's located pretty high up in the mountains, in a place that we hadn't gone to yet. So it's time to bundle up and make our way through the snow. However, once we get there, Barry tells us that we need Rock Climb before speeding off to fight the evil organization himself. He's probably going to be fine, so we go to catch a Pokemon instead. And that's where we find a Tentacruel who the chat decides to nickname Tentai. Tentai's gonna need some training, so we leave him in the box for now and continue on into the gym. After slipping and sliding on some ice, we approach Candace, ready to earn our 7th gym badge. She starts off with a Wurmple who Quitchard drowns in a massive wave. Next up, Beautifly, who suffers the same fate. Jinx is third on the menu, so we switch out to Barry since Barry still has that Dread Plate. Barry crunches Jinx between his teeth before her final Pokemon, Trapinch, comes out. Quitchard easily takes that down, earning us the Snow Point City Gym Badge and, more importantly, the ability to climb rocks and go save Barry. However, Candace doesn't let us go without giving us an extra parting gift, the TM for Tail Glow. That is a ridiculously good TM to find, and it turns out that Salvation can learn it. So bye bye Calm Mind, time to get those easy +6 special attack setups. We drop off Pet Me for a bit to grab Tentai and teach him Rock Climb, and he takes us up to the lake where Jupiter is waiting for us. She doesn't fight us, but she does mention an HQ in Veilstone City, the place with the giant building with their logo on it. So that wasn't the best kept secret, but I guess they get points for trying? We storm the base, taking down grunt after grunt, searching for the elusive Cyrus and the 3 stolen lake Pokemon. When we finally find him, he's giving an authoritarian-like speech about how terrible the world is to a massive audience of Team Galactic grunts. Big is growling in her Pokeballs throughout the speech, but we shush her as we don't want to be discovered just yet. He finishes and takes a secret warp panel behind the stage, but we still have a few more grunts to get through before we can take him down. When we meet him again, he brags about how his whole speech was a lie and how the grunts are useless trash, just in case we didn't already know he was evil, before challenging us to a battle. But Big is ready. He leads off with an Armaldo and Big hits it hard with an Aqua Tail before dragon dancing up. Firo is next and Big almost KOs it with an Ice Fang. Thankfully, it only goes for an agility, but if it had attacked Big, she might have been finished there. A second Ice Fang does the job when Dodrio comes out next. We repeat the same process we just did with Firo and Cyrus is defeated for now. He runs off to Mount Coronet to continue his evil plan, but not before giving us a Master Ball and telling us it's fine to free the 3 legendary lake Pokemon. We just let him go because the plot has to happen and go to free the lake trio. Saturn tries to stop us, but our Pokemon are too strong and we just whoop his butt. So now it's time to ascend Mount Coronet and face our destiny. Unfortunately, we get lost for about an hour or so, but we find a super cool Piplup in the ruins along the way, which we nickname Brook. Eventually, we make our way up to Spear Pillar, where 2 of Cyrus's bodyguards challenge us to a double battle. They start off with a Fortress and a Typhlosion, and I've got Big and Pet Me. We target the Fortress first just to make sure it doesn't explode, but Big gets burned in the process, cutting her attack stat in half. The Fortress drops and the bodyguard sends out Abomasnow, who neither of my Pokemon want to deal with. The Abomasnow hits Big with a Wood Hammer and Big just barely survives through it, but the burn from earlier takes its toll and Big dies. The rest of our team rallies around her as she passes, and we promise her that we'll carry on her revenge quest until we've stomped Cyrus and all of Team Galactic into the dirt. Barry comes in as our opponents switch in a Sceptile. It's Barry and a weakened Pet Me versus Abomasnow and a Sceptile. We heal up Pet Me, but Sceptile screeches into Barry's ears, making him drop his defense. Abomasnow then hits him with a Wood Hammer, and it takes him out in one hit. First Big, now Barry. We bring in Salvation, we Ice Beam the Sceptile, and Pet Me wing attacks the Abomasnow. It's done, not without our losses. We crawl forward with our weakened team, ready to beat down Cyrus. He launches into a monologue that goes on for so long that the Lord of the Underworld, Giratina, just pops out and eats him. Big must have sent him from the great beyond, so good job, Big. Unfortunately, the portal that Giratina opened is starting to destroy the world, so Cynthia and I hop into it, and it's time to find Cyrus again. We're going to beat him even in the afterlife, and we're going to make sure not even his soul remains. So he takes us on in one final battle. He starts off with a Scizor whose Salvation hits with a Surf. It does a ton of damage, but he seems to want to save that Scizor for later, so he switches in a Blossom, who we easily take out with an Ice Beam. Babarrel is next, so we send out Jerry to wrestle that otter down, and we take it down with 2 Earthquakes, but it hits us hard with a Super Fang, so Jerry's gonna need to rest for a little bit. Marowak is coming out, so we go to Quitchard. A Surf takes it out in one hit, and Scizor comes back in. Now, Scizor is pretty low at this point, so we stay in and we go for some damage. Unfortunately, he full restores. We have full health, and we can take him out with just one more hit, so we stay in. But he outspeeds us, and he goes for X-Scissor. And X-Scissor cuts Quitchard in 2. Pet Me comes out, and we finish off the Scizor as we just stand there in shock. Salvation comes in, and we take on his last Pokemon, a level 46 Grumpig. It rests, so we Tail Glow up, but somehow a +3 Surf isn't enough to take out this pig, so we go for one more. But finally, after that, Cyrus disappears, and it's over. We continue forward to Giratina, and we beg it to bring back those we lost. Big, Barry, Quitchard, everyone who's died along the way. But it's out of Giratina's hands, so we challenge that big snake god, and it disappears, leaving behind a portal back to reality. Cynthia and I travel through it, and it takes us to send off Spring, a beautiful and peaceful sanctuary. The sun hits our face, and we remember all that we lost. Big may not have been able to see it through, but she can rest in peace knowing there's no more Team Galactic. We catch up a barrel who we nickname Haven, and end the day with a mass funeral for Quitchard, for Big, and for Barry. It's day 11 and we have some training to do. We need to replenish the party, so we add Brook the Piplup, Haven the Barbarrel, and Tentai the Tentacle to our party. Unfortunately, with the final gym looming ahead, they had a lot to catch up on. However, it turns out to be just too much as Brook and Haven die in training, leaving us with just Tentai as the only survivor. We continue forward, making our way to the 8th gym, but my internet starts to have issues, so we have to end the stream for the day. With only 3 days left to beat this game, I began to get a little bit worried. Day 12 starts and we pick back up right where we left off, heading towards our gym battle. We make it through Volkner's electric maze and get ready to challenge him with our 4 Pokemon. We're a little bit underleveled for his ace, but we're gonna have to make do because there's just not a lot of time left for us to train. Volkner leads with a Venusaur as we send out Tentai. I go for a poison jab, but he tanks it and heals right back up, so I knew it was time to switch. We send out Petme, who takes him down with 2 wing attacks. Next up is Rampardos, who turns out to be his level 50 ace. I switch in Jerry, who gets off a nice bit of damage versus it before he swaps to a Leafeon. And of course, I'm not staying in against that, but Tentai has taken a bit of damage and Petme has taken a lot of damage, so we go with Tentai. Now the thing about Tentai is that it has the Hustle ability, which boosts its physical attack but lowers its accuracy. So Tentai is trying to hit this Leafeon, but somehow keeps missing it with all 8 of his arms. And as we heal up, he switches back out into Rampardos. So now it's time to switch back into Jerry. But Jerry comes in on a critical hit Zen Headbutt, absolutely decimating most of his health bar. But Jerry's a tough guy. He hangs in there and we quickly toss him a Hyper Potion, but Rampardos gets another critical hit Zen Headbutt. We heal Jerry right back up and thankfully the 3rd Zen Headbutt doesn't crit and we get the Flame Body Burn, so Rampardos is no longer a threat. Before we can finish it off though, he swaps back into Leafeon, but we have our play now. Tentai comes in and hits the Poison Jab, taking out the Leafeon. Now it's just that weakened Rampardos and 1 mystery Pokemon, so Jerry runs in and gets the kill. However, Volkner wasn't done yet. We'd seen him use Hyper Potions, but it turns out he'd been saving a full restore in his back pocket, just in case he needed it. We go for an Earthquake, bringing Rampardos down to the red, but his next Zen Headbutt flinches us. We heal up as the next Headbutt flies right past Jerry, barely missing him. Thankfully, we're safe as we go for another Earthquake and he reveals Endeavor, bringing Jerry all the way down to the same amount of health as the Rampardos had before it keeled over and died. That leaves 1 more left, and it turns out it's just a Spinda, so Salvation comes in, easily takes it out, earning us the last gym badge. And as we surf through the water, making our way to Victory Road, we run into our next encounter, a level 50 Buizel. We catch it and nickname it Lucky One, as we're pretty lucky we're not going to need to train that very much. Unfortunately, the next encounter we run into in this area is a wild Corsola. Now, I'm thinking, it's just a Corsola, so that's pretty easy experience. Tentai goes for a surf, but it activates its trap card, Mirror Coat. It inflicts double the damage back on Tentai and immediately takes it down. Poor Tentai. You were here for a short time, but you really did make a difference taking out that Leafeon in the last gym. We sneak past the swimming trainers and finally it's time for Victory Road. We head into the cave in search of a new water type when we run into a Horsey. Now this is a pretty strong looking Horsey, so I assume that it can take a resisted Ice Beam from Salvation. But you know what they say when you assume things. So it seems like we're stuck with the Pokemon we already have going into the Elite Four, so I grab our level 30 Seadra, Rasputin, and our level 4 Corsola, Corey, and begin the training session. Rasputin evolves into a Pelipper, but it dies literally 3 minutes later to a critical hit Horn Attack, so it's time to add Miss Spins, our truant Poliwhirl, to the party. Lucky One the Buizel evolves into a Quillfish, so we finally get another water poison type. And now we have a relatively functional team, so all that's left is to finish leveling them up. Well, Jerry is off doing Jerry things when we run into a Horsey, and so far they've been pretty easy experience. I mean, you saw how our earlier encounter went down, but they don't really offer a lot of experience per fight. But this one had some fight in it. It hits Jerry with a critical hit hydro pump.
No! Jerry!
And Jerry dies. I absolutely couldn't believe it. Jerry, who we raised from a side duck we found next to the cycling road. Jerry, our electric immunity. Jerry was gone. Farewell, Jerry. May you rest in peace and be a very strong boy in heaven or hell, wherever you're going. I don't know what sins you've committed, Jerry, but I hope wherever you go, you have a good time. And our team is really struggling at this point, and I'm concerned whether we can even make it through Victory Road, let alone if we can take on the Elite Four. I search for options, and I find 3 fossils hidden in the bottom of my backpack. If one of them can be a water type encounter, we can add it to the party, and we can go back to having some pretty decent mons. I take them back to the Orenburg City Museum, and the first one we revive ends up being a Polytoad.
Polytoad!
But not just a Polytoad with the Drizzle ability. That's just what we needed, so Mr. Spins the Polytoad joins our party, and now we have a chance. We train long and hard, and eventually everyone is at least level 59 and ready to take on Cynthia. We approach the clerk guarding the door to our final challenge when death comes for us one final time. Our rival wants to see who really is the strongest at the end of our journey. He's got 6 Pokemon, but I'm thinking that they won't be a problem. He starts off with Blastoise as I lead with Mr. Spins to set the rein. Now, Mr. Spins is more of a support, so I switch out into Lucky One as the Blastoise goes for Skull Bash. They trade blows back and forth until I bring Mr. Spins back out and try to hit it with a Hyper Voice. Well, 3 Hyper Voices do the trick, but it took a while to take this one down. Next up is Kangaskhan, so we send out Miss Spins. Rock Smash doesn't really do all that much, and we tank 2 Outrages, but the rain boosted waterfall finishes it off. Charizard comes out next, but it's still raining, and Miss Spins takes it out pretty easily with a waterfall. He sends out his starter Huntail, and its cold dead eyes remind me of my own beloved Huntail. Salvation gets 2 tail glows off and then destroys it with ancient power. Determined to torture me with our lost loved ones, Death sends out Quagsire, who we take out with an Ice Beam. Poor Jerry and Barry, you two are in a better place. Hell. Kecleon is his last mon, and since we're already set up, we end its existence no problem. That's what you get for being a reptile. With Death defeated, he runs off, and it's finally time to take on the Elite Four. The clerk checks our badges, and now there's no turning back. The biggest thing I'm worried about here outside of deaths is our PP. We need to make sure we save our PP for Cynthia, since I'm expecting that fight to be the hardest. Aron is up first, and Mr. and Miss Spins take out his first 2 mons pretty easily, but then it was time for Arceus. I'm not going to underestimate this one, so I set up a Tail Glow with Salvation, and Surf takes it out. Chatot and Girafarig are his next 2, and with the help of Pet Me, we make it past Aron. Aron warns us that the next trainers are even harder than him, but I feel like we're prepared. Now for Bertha. She starts with an unknown, and Mr. Spins laughs as he drowns it in his Surf. But next up is Gorobus. Now if you've ever played competitive Pokemon, you might know that Gorobus gets Shell Smash and can actually be pretty terrifying. I send in Lucky One, but after taking 1 Hydro Pump for 100 damage, I knew that I couldn't stay in. I send in Pet Me, who has pretty high special defense, but unfortunately not a ton of attack. We wear it down, but both Pet Me and Lucky One have taken a lot of damage. Swalot is coming in now, and I instinctively reach for Jerry's Pokeball before remembering that Jerry is gone. I send out Miss Spins instead, and we do some decent damage with a waterfall, but we take about 1/3 of our health from the Sludge Bomb. But due to Truant, Miss Spin needs to take a nap, and this happens.
Oh no! Mrs. Spins! Mrs. Spins!
We weren't super attached to Miss Spins, but losing someone this early in the Elite Four is never a good thing. We send in Corey to finish the job with Earth Power. And Bertha has a Kingdra next, but Salvation sets up a Tail Glow and takes it out with an Ice Beam. Del Caddy is switching in, and learning our lesson from the third gym, we decide to stay in with our non-binary legendary buddy, Salvation. Surf takes it out, and that's 2 battles down, 3 more to go. We'll have time to mourn Miss Spins afterwards, but Mr. Spins is ready to go on to the next room, where we face off against Flint. Mr. Spins starts off again, and he leads off with a Rampardos. We know just how much damage this guy can do from Volkner, but we've got rain boosted Surf, so we stay in and we go for it. That takes him out, and Ludicolo comes in next, so it's time to go into Pet Me, who takes him out with a wing attack. She does the same thing to the Venomoth that comes in after, and she's definitely getting extra pets for just how well she's doing. Good job, Pet Me. But now it was time. A match that somehow hadn't happened until now. He sends in his own Kyogre versus mine. Now I can set up a lot faster, since Tail Glow boosts your special attack by 3 each time. However, his Kyogre has Calm Mind, which boosts his special attack and his special defense by 1 stage every time he uses it. So I set up my 2 Tail Glows, but with the extra special defense he's been setting up, my Ancient Power only does a small chunk. His Hydro Pump hits me hard, and I'm forced to heal when he reveals the worst possible move he could have for us. Rest. Remember that PP problem we talked about? Nowhere is this more of an issue than with Kyogre, as Ancient Power only has 5 PP, and now we're gonna have to enter into a hit-for-hit match as we try to slowly take his Kyogre down. We go for rain boosted Surfs, but it only does about 35%. If he wakes up and he rests again, we're going to lose another 3 PP. Thankfully, we get lucky and he sleeps the entire time, and we're able to take that out before freezing his last Pokemon, Pelipper. That one was close, but it's time for the 4th battle. Lucian starts with a Blastoise that we put to sleep with Mr. Spins, but as we go for damage, that Blastoise just keeps tanking everything Mr. Spins throws at it, so it's time to switch in Pet Me. We go back and forth with Pet Me hitting it hard with wing attacks and rain boosted Surfs, and finally, we crit and it gets taken down. But next up is another Rampardos. I send in Corey, who can go for the Surf, and we take it down. But now Lucian sends out Shaman. Now Shaman is really scary, as Seed Flare can drop my special defense 2 stages. I don't really have anything that can switch in on it, but I try Pet Me and I heal her up. Thankfully, Lucian didn't go for Seed Flare, so we were able to take it down with some wing attacks. Porygon Z is the next Pokemon he has, so we go into Corey since she'll resist a Tri-Attack if he goes for it. The last one up is Blissey, and Lucky One takes it out with 2 waterfalls to the face. So okay, we have 5 Pokemon left, and the only trainer left is Cynthia. No matter what happens now, this next battle is where it ends. We approach the chamber. Cynthia goes off on a dialogue, and then it starts. We lead off with Mr. Spins, just as we've been doing before, but she starts off with a true champion Pokemon, Pachirisu. I have no switches, but I'm able to put it to sleep with a Hypnosis, and then go out into Corey. Corey Earth powers, and we almost take it out, but her Pachirisu lives, and we get paralyzed by the discharge. It heals back up, and we have to struggle to take it down, but thankfully we do. She sends in Mamoswine next, so we go out to Mr. Spins, who takes it down quickly with a Surf. And the same thing happens to her Nasty Plot Houndoom. But then her ace, Spirit Tomb. She goes for a Nasty Plot as Mr. Spins misses the Hypnosis. She goes for second Nasty Plot, effectively having +6 special attack, and we take half of its health with a Surf. Confident that Mr. Spins won't let us down, we go for another Surf when Spiritomb lives on just a little HP, goes for Dark Pulse, which crits and takes down Mr. Spins. We're now dealing with a +4 Spiritomb, but it doesn't have much health left. I go into Lucky One, and I go for the Aqua Jet, which always moves first. But Spiritomb emerges from the Aqua Jet unscathed and takes out Lucky One with another Dark Pulse. This is it. This is where we're going to die. I pray to the god of the ocean, and I send out Salvation. She full restores her Spiritomb as we go for a Surf. It lives, but we're faster. The second Surf takes it out, and now it's just Salvation, Corey, and Pet Me left. Slowbro comes out, so we Tail Glow on it. I want to make sure I was in the best possible position to finish this. We get to +6, and then we use Surf to take out her Slowbro. And her last Pokemon is a Furret, and Salvation goes for one more Surf. We take it out, she admits defeat, and takes us into the Hall of Fame. We immortalize the 6 Pokemon that came with us here, while remembering all the others who gave their lives to get us this far. But now, we're the new Sinnoh champion. It's finally over. With 2 days left to go, we finished the run. And this was the story of my Pokemon Platinum randomized monotype Nuzlocke adventure. Thanks for watching. So before we end this video, I just want to acknowledge a possible criticism that could come up. I wasn't aware that this type of challenge usually uses the hardcore Nuzlocke rules, which sets a level cap, makes you play on set mode, and doesn't let you use items in battle. I found that out after I'd already started the challenge, but I kind of think we had plenty of trouble even without those rules, so hopefully it was still a challenging run for you guys, because for me, it was definitely challenging. But I also know that it's generally normal to go with like just the winning run in the video, but I felt like having the losses in this, it was all kind of part of this wild adventure to finish the game in time. You know, with 14 days on the clock, it was a little bit stressful for me, but it's kind of what made it even more challenging and more fun. I had a lot of fun with this, and I'm looking forward to taking on a new challenge in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. You can catch me doing these things live on Twitch in the link down in the description below, and if you made it this far, let me know what kind of challenges you'd like to see me take on in the future in the comments section, and click that subscribe button to catch my future uploads. Until next time, hope you have a good day, a good week, a good life, and happy training. Goodbye.